Welcome, I'm Tim Kelleher. I'll be the lab technician for back here in the working lab hands-on exercise. This is to do with 106, BCT 106, soldering and brazing. This is probably the most dangerous course that you're going to entail while you're in here in the back lab area. We have explosives and fire, so you got to be very careful what you're doing at all times while you're back here. Safety is our #1 concern. First of all, everybody that's going to be working back here at all times must have a good pair of working gloves, safety glasses, long sleeve shirts, long pants, and construction type boots or some sort of shoes that are not open. No open toe boots or shoes. The next thing is we're going to discuss, so that you're familiar when you come out here, what should be in your toolbox at the time. Now, if at any time anything is broken, not operational, you need to let somebody know back here and we'll get it replaced for you. Let's start with the turbo torch box. Now, inside you're going to find a blue bottle, which is propane, the MAP gas, which is always yellow, a roll of solder. This is normally 95.5 that we use in there. We will supply all that for you. Then the turbo torch head. Now this is very expensive, so be very careful with this thing and understand how to use it before you get back here. The other thing is this little safety holder. Whenever you're using your bottles, the safety holder must be used. All right, this will lay flat on your table, work table, wherever you're working, and it will not cause it to tip over. The other one is your oil can. If you run out of oil, just let us know. We'll show you how to fill that up later. Your flux, this is very important. It's important because what you do to it is going to affect somebody else. Keep the brush clean when you're stirring it up inside here, so that the next student has the capability of having the same clean flux. The flux bottle and the brush, if it has any dirt or corrosion on it of any sort, build up, take a rag, wipe it off, put it back in here. But do not use water. Even though it's a water-based soluble fluid, do not use water on it. Sandpaper, if you run out, all you have to do is let us know. Your tape measure, these are two benders. All right, spring benders. All right, they're hand benders. We're going to show you how to use them later down the road, but at least now you'll understand what they look like. They're little flexible tubes. They're tight metals webbing, and they're designed to bend the tube by hand up to a certain diameter. Your cutting wheel. Now, your cutting wheel, there will be different versions of this, but they all work the same method. Rotate clockwise, tighten it up, counterclockwise to loosen it. Be sure that the wheel is tight. The screw is tight in the handle. If it comes loose, let us know. Some of them have little C-clips on it. If that comes or falls off, let us know and we'll fix it. The cutting edge, be sure the cutting edge is not bent, chipped, or otherwise damaged, and we'll get that fixed. There is a reamer that they call on the back of this. We prefer that you not use this. It makes it a lot tougher cut, and it doesn't come out as clean when you use this one. We're going to give you a better one to use. The next thing is you're going to have 3 types of wire brushes. Those wire brushes, use the wire brush that goes with the size of copper tubing, either 1/4 inch, 3/8, or 1/2 inch. That's all we use in here. This is the other reamer that I was talking to you about. All right, be sure that it has a sharp edge on it. We're going to show you how to use that later down the road. But again, this is the reamer that we prefer you to use. If you're used to using the older type reamer, there's nothing wrong with that. Use it. But remember, this comes out with a much cleaner cut on your metal than that reamer does. And that will affect your work later down the road. Just a little 6-penny nail. If you need it and it comes up missing, just let us know. Cold chisels, you're going to use this to peel back all your copper tubing, and we're going to show you that later. Locking pliers, you're going to need that because you definitely do not want to hold the copper once it gets hot. So this is what's going to hold your metal. One of the last things is your swedging and flaring tool. These all have the proper parts in them. Again, if they break, let us know. We'll help you out and we'll fix that up. All right, but again, very expensive equipment. Be sure you take care of it. And then of course, the 1/2 inch, the 3/8, and the 1/4 inch copper tubing that we're going to be working with. Let me take a second to show you the other materials around here. We have our oxygen settling kits. All right, they're fully filled up, maintained well. It's your responsibility. This is a crucial part of the course. You're going to have plenty of experience and hands-on working with this equipment. But it all works. This is a major safety factor. All right, be careful what's around you at all times when you're dealing with this stuff. The other thing is your two workstations. Now, only 2 people can work at any one of these stations at one time. So we have to take a rotational basis, and it works out pretty easy. You have your wire brushes, your hammer, your other hacksaws. Each side of the toolkit has its own. You have a water can. You're going to need the water can to fill it up. We'll show you where that can be filled up at. Empty it at the end of the day. Be sure your area is clean when you leave. The copper buckets underneath is for copper only. All right, ensure that you are aware of that. Don't put trash in there and everything else. It's for copper only. All lighting instruments are attached to the table so they don't get lost. There's your striker. Just be sure you know where it's at. Other than that, that should be sufficient enough information for you to get going. So when you come in here, you're always going to need to have your toolbox, which has all the equipment I just showed you, and your reamer, your flaring and reaming kit. When all those are there, you can come out here onto the table. We have at any one time, we'll have 4 people out here, 2 people working per table. So be patient, but take your time and work on your projects. If you need assistance, ask other students or ask us, and we'll help you out. Okay. Welcome back. This is lesson 1. Every lesson from here on will be basically the same thing, except that this is the important one because you're going to learn how to cut your copper tubing, you're going to learn how to ream your copper tubing, and you're going to learn how to clean the copper tubing. Now, those 3 seem to be easy, but if you do not perform this exercise correctly, the work that you have to do further down the road is going to impale on your situation. Okay? Now, first of all, you got your copper tubing. Now, the copper tubing comes in different rolls, different size rolls. We're using 3/8 for this purpose of the exercise. You'll be using 1/4 inch, 3/8, and your 1/2 inch. The easiest way to unroll copper tubing is to lay it down at one end, flat on the table, hold it down, and roll it out. Now, when you do this, you're not going to get it perfectly straight, but majority of it is going to be really nice and straight for you. Now, once you've done that, you're going to get a hold of your cutter, your tape measure, and some sort of marking device. Now, in your instructions, it's going to tell you you have to cut at 4 inches or you have to cut at 3 inches, or it'll show you a diagram and you'll have to cut to that specification. For purposes in the training session here, we're just guessing here about 4 inches. All right? Now, I basically know where 4 inches is at. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set this, and this is important. You see where the 2 rollers are? Your copper tubing must sit in on those 2 rollers. And then again, you're going to turn it clockwise until such time as the blade touches the copper tubing and firms it up. Now, do not press hard on this. The reason being is the harder you press when you're cutting, the more work you're going to do with your reamer in the next exercise. So therefore, we have it snugged up against it and we rotate it. Continue rotating it 360 degrees. Give it a slight turn, just applying a little bit of pressure at any one time. You prefer to rotate it over and over a couple times to be sure that you got a clean cut. Now you noticed that it fell off and I didn't break it off. That's what we want to happen. So when we're done, we have just the 4 inches of copper tubing available to us. Now the second part of that is reaming. Now remember, I told you not to use the reaming tool here on the cutter. If you prefer to do that, that's fine, but understand that the copper tubing, this makes a rough cut on this, and it's going to affect your flares. So what I recommend is that you use the small reamer. Now, when you're doing this, be sure that you got your glasses on. Your copper tubing, even though it's only 4 inches, it's a training exercise, so you have to take that into consideration. Always ensure that the copper tubing is bent in the downward position. The reaming tool is securely in your hands, and you put it inside just about halfway. Apply a little bit of pressure and rotate it. Now you notice that it's swiveling by itself, and I'm working it in a 360-degree circle, and I'm making it nice and smooth. I'm not got choppy turns. If you have choppiness on it, it's going to make indents onto your copper. Rotate it 360 degrees several times over, and then take it out and look at it. What you're looking for is to be sure that that cutting edge, the burr inside, has been removed. Now you can do this several ways. You can take the little tool and feel to see that you got it removed. Take a pencil, do the same thing. You don't want to cut real hard and deep into this because it's going to affect your flare later on in the next exercises. So therefore, just remove enough of the copper tubing so you get rid of the ream that you put in there by cutting. Now we go back to what we were discussing earlier. If you try and be impatient and putting a lot of pressure on that cutting wheel, the effect is going to mean that it's going to cut into the copper tubing harder and force more metal into the center. Then that means that you're going to work twice as hard trying to ream the copper tubing out. All right, and it thins the walls, and you don't want that to happen. All right, now this seems easy, but you're not going to know if you did this correctly until you're down in one of the other exercises where you start flaring. If your flare starts to separate or cut on the edges and have very rough grooves, then your cutting operation isn't quality. All right, and you're going to have to cut that off and redo it, but we'll get into that at a later date. If you have any questions, be sure that you ask either the lab tech or the instructors, and we'll help you out. All right, but again, it's crucial that you understand how to properly tilt it, wearing your gloves, glasses, and reaming this out. All right, without it, it's going to cause your refrigeration or your plumbing copper, depending on what course you're in, to cause restrictions in your system, and you don't want that. All right, now the final thing is how to clean it. You all have sandpaper. Roll out a little bit, tear it off. Again, pick it up. You want, whatever the diameter of the copper tubing is, you want twice of that area to be clean. So in this case, this is 3/8. We want a little more than 1/2 inch. All right? So we wrap it around and we just twist. This is the quickest way. Now there's tools out there that can do this much faster. If you prefer to purchase that, that's on you, but it will work just as well, and it only takes a second. Now, you notice that what you'll see is the discoloration, oxidation on the copper tubing. We want it nice and clean when you solder, all right? And therefore, that is what you're going to do in your lab, your first lab.